because we have to do something. As Jerry said, if it's all about money, that makes it even worse, doesn't it? If it's all about the money and people who are making money out of disadvantaged and abused children, that can't be right, can it? From Baby P is the headline that they're putting. Arthur, a 6-year-old boy, tortured and killed by evil dad and stepmom as inept authorities ignored desperate pleas for help. Now, is the headline inside the Sun. It's just awful. It really is just awful. Let's talk to Jerry Hanna, who's chair of Parenting Together. Jerry, very good morning to you.
Good morning, mate. Thanks for having me today.
Yeah, I mean, it's terribly sad, this story. I mean, I don't know where to begin, really. And I sort of don't even want to blame anyone for it, because obviously, clearly, these parents and step-parents are so horrible and awful that they don't even really bear mentioning. But we've got to get better at looking after these children, haven't we? Absolutely,
mate. The big problem that we face is social services. Some of the decisions that are made in court are totally inappropriate.
Yeah. And why is that, do you think?
It's really, I don't know whether you might want to call this a conspiracy theory, but actually these children are worth a lot of money. Mm. And when they put a child into care, or if they can get a child into foster care or get them adopted, they stand to make a great deal of money from it. First of all, there's a government that pays them an allowance. Then you have the trading that goes on between social services and adoption agencies. And the full objective of social services is to take the child away from the parents, and any excuse will do.
Yeah. And it is a business. In my experience, and the only reason I can say this is because of my own personal experience, health visitors used to come to my house whenever I had a child. And our house, there might be reasons why people would think that I'm not a very good father, but, other people would say, actually, I'm not a bad father. But my experience was that they would send health visitors to places where they knew everything was fine, and they wouldn't send health visitors to places where they knew that something might be up, because it's a bit too tricky, it's a bit too dangerous. It might, with Baby P, they kind of were frightened to go to the house because the people were so awful that they didn't know if the social service visitors were going to be safe. And it seems to me that they sort of tick boxes by coming to people like me and saying, oh yeah, that's all right, we ticked that box. But they don't go where they should go.
You're absolutely right, mate. The whole thing is contrived. When it goes to court, if there is one good parent like yourself and there's one that is not so good, the chances are they will put the case forward to place the child, as they have done in this case this morning. They have placed the child with the least adequate parent. Mm. That makes it so much easier to come back at a later date and take that child away from the parent.
Yeah.
Because when both parents are against each other in the court, the judge looks at both of them, and social services are putting the case that the father says the mother is totally inadequate and inappropriate to look after the child, and then the mother saying exactly the same thing about the dad. Then the judge, quite often, they have obviously the legitimate decision to deprive both parents of the child and put them into social care. Mm.
And in that case, is that better than leaving the child with either of them, do you think, or is it too easy to make that judgment?
No, I think the best, I'm glad you brought this up, because just to give you a quick statistic, I don't want to give you a lecture, but there are places in the country where a child might, or anyone might experience a domestic abuse incident once in every 210 years. Mm. That's 3 consecutive lifetimes.
Yeah.
Now, there are places such as Bradford where the school children have reported sexual or brutal abuse every 4 years. Mm. Now, this depends not on your lifestyle and not on the parents, it depends on where you live.
Right.
I'm sure you, Mike, have had moments, maybe several, I don't know, but maybe you've had moments where you've said something, you've done something, instantly regretted it, oh no, I shouldn't have done that, and I do apologise, you've done all the rest of the things that you should do to make amends. That's the key word. There is no making amends in anything in the places where children are taken away from parents.
So they don't concentrate on making the parents suitable, if you like, so that they could
Correct.
at some point take the child back into their own care, because obviously you would want, I would imagine, for a child to be with his or her real parents.
Absolutely, always the best option. I like little Daniel Pelka and like baby Peter.
Yeah.
It's very, very rare for the actual parent to commit any kind of abuse on their own child. As you've just been saying, you can't imagine it.
No.
But other people, they will. Most of the cases, in fact, depending on who you believe, most of the cases, 86 to 95% of domestic abuse on children is perpetrated by friends and family of one of the parents.
It's so shocking to even think that it happens, but it does happen, and I'm getting a bit tired of hearing the phrase, we're going to learn the lessons from this and we're going to move on. It never happens. You know, what lessons have any of these people learned from baby P, for example, from little Victoria Columbia? You know, what have they learned? Nothing.
Absolutely. It's about the money though, Mike. It's not about the safety of the child.
Yeah. Well, how do we change it then, Jerry? What would you do?
I personally would have a look at the politics, to be honest, Mike, because there are places in the country, as I said, where this is never or very, very unlikely to happen. I'll give you another quick statistic just to make my point. Young people today are 2.7 times more likely to be arrested for a serious crime than they are to be married. Wow. That's a stunning statistic. Yeah, because young men are not brought up to be parents. They're not given responsibilities. One of the things, obviously, there's the feminist movement from the 1970s. I could give you a whole lecture on that one, but it's basically that they're trying to split families apart, working class families apart. This is by splitting these people apart, they can access the children, make money from that, claim grants from the government for bad behaviour children, emotional problems and everything, psychological problems that they cause. They can claim money back from the government for all the disruption that they cause. And they can also sell the children to adoption agencies, some of them paying $350,000 for blonde-haired, blue-eyed little baby girls. So you can imagine there's it's a multi-billion-pound industry.